Hey guys, Aaron Wilson at Lumen Field, the site of an embarrassing night for the Texans, especially its offense. You look at where the Texans stand and the things they can't do offensively against a quality opponent. And unfortunately for the Texans, the harsh reality kind of sets in. The fact is, they beat some junior varsity opponents the past couple of weeks and they combined for 70 points. But this is a league where there are levels to this. And the Seahawks are at a different level than the Texans. And the Texans, to get to that level, they have so much improvement to do, it's hard to even know where to start. Squandering a 4-1 turnover margin. Not blocking for C.J. Stroud. Some of C.J.'s decisions questionable, but under heavy duress. 17 pressures, 3 sacks. The offensive line failed him. And it was a frustrating moment for the offense. And Titus Howard really, I thought, was a very stand-up guy. So were a lot of these guys after the game. No questioning their accountability. And he said, there was complacency. There was a lack of energy. That's not what you want to have. I don't know if it was the 15 days off. I mean, obviously not all of it was off, but a lot of it was off. The bye week, early bye, the time change, all those things. But let's not mince words. The Seahawks are superior to the Texans, and they're better in so many areas. You look at the Texans' inability to run the football in short yardage, the lack of creativity from offense coordinator Nick Haley. His rookie year, very up and down so far, and he's getting dragged nationally, locally, anywhere you can think of, internationally, I would imagine. Read the international press. But my point is, it's tough out there for Haley. Haley's got to come up with some more creative things, and they've got to block better. And we thought they were showing some signs, some improvements, but obviously not. And we have to go off of the truth and what we're seeing. And there's no way to sugarcoat this performance. You can talk about the defense. We already knew the defense was good. The defense has some elite ability. They could have played better too. And there could have been some smarter play. The penalties, a lot of that is fixable. What's hard to fix is, are you calling the right plays? Do you have the ability to block it? Can you block guys like Byron Murphy II? Obviously not. This guy had a beast game for them. Talking about beast mode. This guy's the new beast mode. He's on defense. So, yeah, there were some embarrassments. I mean, you had extra time, and they're coming off of, a game where they beat the Jaguars. And Texans, not even close in many ways. This score shouldn't have been as close as it was. It was just, kind of happenstance. And the Seahawks being way too laid back and complacent in their own way, letting the Texans hang around. But no, this was not a close football game. I don't care what the score says. So, yes, there was some sluggishness. There was some confusion. I think the defense got better, but there were some disciplinary issues too. I know what, Azeez Al-Shire said, and I accept his explanation that he couldn't tell he's out of bounds. They didn't blow the whistle. They didn't blow the whistle on Tim Settle Jr.'s penalty. Interesting point, by the way, by D'Amico Ryans. He was supposed to kick it out of bounds, Kaimi Fairburn, and he didn't. So that was a failure to execute the plan that they had, according to D'Amico Ryans. So you can look it up. More bad news. Nico Collins, concussed. Can he play in 1 week against San Francisco 49ers? We'll see. It's very cut and dry with the protocol. You either pass the baseline neurological exam or you don't. And if you can't pass and you can't practice, then you can't play. It's not like hamstring. It's not like a lot of these other things. So we'll see. They got to find a way to get him more involved, right? You can't just have this weapon like Nico Collins and you target him about 10 times and he's got 4 catches and he doesn't have a touchdown. This is absolutely, hands down, one of the worst offenses. I know they're not ranked 32nd or anything like that based on what happened the last couple of weeks, but it's a bad offense. What's the plan? What are they? What are they trying to do? And I know there were some people who were frustrated. Well, why not use Jalen Noel more? Yeah, it's a good question. But it's not like they use Braxton Berrios that much. And I know some people don't want to see the rotation of guards. Well, they still are seeing something like in Tomlinson. They're still seeing penalties from Juice Scruggs. And so they weren't inclined to move on from him. Juice Scruggs didn't hands down outright win the job, in their opinion. And the coaches, they know. So that's their opinion. I don't think either of those things makes a difference. It's not the only factor. There's so many things. It's a laundry list of issues that this team faces. And to their credit, they stick together. They weren't pointing fingers. I know there was some frustration, and I think Azeez Al-Shire was kind of the spokesman for some of those frustrations about the calls. But that's not why they lost the game. There was, talk about silly penalties, and that was the word, and sloppiness, another word from D'Amico Ryans. I agree with him. It is silly after the play. Yes, Jackson Smith-Njigba and Derek Stingley Jr. after the interception, he stiff arms him. His helmet comes off. Stingley's trying to stiff arm him. I don't think he's trying to knock his helmet off, but it happened. And then he takes umbrage. JSN, he's upset about it. And then you've got a situation on the bench where Christian Harris pushes him into the bench. And, I'm actually sitting on one of these benches right now, and I wouldn't want to get pushed into this thing. It would hurt. But, yeah, the Christian Harris, they restrained him. Kamari Lassiter and another teammate, couldn't quite make that out who that was. But, yeah, that can't happen. That's not acceptable. You got to keep your cool. You got to keep your composure. So these are a lot of the problems they have. So when they're playing a good opponent, that's what they're showing us. They're a 2-4 team. When they play a bad opponent, yeah, they can win. But there's just no real feel. There's a predictability of the play calling. There's a stubbornness almost. I don't want to be a mind reader, but there's just not what you need to have. And running the football, these short yardage situations, that's a tough call. They're a hard watch, right? I don't know who stayed up, but I was here. This is my job. I'm here, and went to the locker room and talked to the guys. And yeah, it's difficult right now. What's going on with this team? And picking up where I left off, you look at this situation, and it's pretty untenable. How do you get better? You can't just, you've already overhauled your offensive line. You already traded 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunsil. Aaron Thurston, he's struggling out there. He's a rookie. He's having a lot of growing pains. This is tough. It's hard for him to block these guys. They didn't pick up the line stunts. They knew it was coming. They knew the line stunts were coming. They couldn't stop it. And so these are some fundamental lapses that are difficult to fix, maybe not impossible. Some of these guys think that they can fix it. But you look at what happened there in this 1-yard line situation. You're there. You can punch it in. They throw the football twice. There's a false start, stretch play. A lot of clock goes off. It was rough. I don't know about job security. Some people say, well, what about Gerard Johnson? What about Bill Lazor? I don't think that anyone's riding in on a white horse and fixing this offense. There are fundamental personnel issues. That's to start with the personnel department with Nick Caserio and getting the best possible players. I don't know if a trade makes sense. They're 2-4. They're not in contention. They might be playing for a high draft pick. They might be better off playing for a high draft pick. But we're not seeing a lot of growth from the offense coordinator. And for C.J. Stroud, there's a bit of a disservice they're doing to him because this is a talented quarterback. He didn't change in 2 weeks. The quarterback that had 4 touchdown passes was the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. You've got to attribute some of this to play calling. You've got to attribute some of this to the blocking. But it's a tough situation. So I don't know that you can make it any worse, by making a change, but I don't know if it's going to make it any better. So yes, they fired Bobby Slowick. They were fed up with Slowick. They didn't think Slowick could take them to the next level. This is worse than Slowick. Slowick was a better play caller, and they ran a better offense, and they had more points and more production than they do with Caley. That's just the facts. So you look at this offensive line, they rotate guards. Nobody else does that. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't happen in other situations. You look at the right side, I think we have the moments from Titus Howard and Ed Ingram. And Ed Ingram had a really high blocking grade. I know all that. But This game, it wasn't very good. I just don't see how the offensive line is going to get better, but they better get better soon. They got to protect this quarterback. They need to keep CJ healthy. So with CJ Stroud, evaluating him is a little complicated because it's kind of a chicken or the egg. How would he be if he had time? Well, I don't know if he's going to have time. So there's some passes that, are ill-advised. That, probably can't be caught. And then there's a lot of scrambling and some cool things that he'll do. But, his processing, all this is hinging on having an offensive line that you can believe in. And how can you believe in this offensive line? So this is a tough franchise kind of situation. You look at quarterbacks that, they're being let down by their team. He's being let down by his team. I don't know about what they'll do. Is he going to want to sign a contract extension? How does this all look when they chop it up in the offseason? That's a question for another day, but it's a big picture question that's certainly running through my mind right now. So they have Braxton Berrios play some, not really at the expense of Jalen Noel, but they want to have more of Noel, right? They had, I think some really good moments from Noel. You want to use Dalton Schultz even more. Dalton Schultz, a bright spot, if you can call anything on the offense a bright spot tonight. But I just don't see how they can, justify using Adare Ogunbowale very much. You want to have more Woody Marks. And you got to use him in a way that he can succeed. So there were all these near safeties. They were lucky that they weren't called for safeties. The Seahawks player fumbled. It's a touchback. It's a very convoluted explanation, but I think ultimately probably they got the call right. And, you've got the tackle on the quarterback from Azeez Al-Shire, that penalty. You've got Tim Settle Jr. at the end of the game. They said they didn't hear the whistle. That's one of the things, complaints from the players. You have a Nico Collins dropped pass, uncharacteristic. You have Ka'imi Fairburn. He's supposed to kick the ball out of bounds. He didn't do it. That was from D'Amico Ryans. Derek Stingley Jr. didn't have a great game at all. Didn't play to his all-pro level against Jackson Smith-Njigba. I thought that JSN was awesome. And there was an interception, but overall not enough plays. Will Anderson Jr., talk about bright spots. Great play. The sack, the strip, and the recovery all in one beautiful motion to have that touchdown. That was probably the best play of the season on defense and one of the best plays of Will Anderson Jr.'s career. So just outstanding. Quiet game from Daniel Hunter. Absolutely quiet. Yeah, very quiet. Danico Autry played well. And, you saw the blocked field goal. This is, a few of the things that, you can talk about, but ultimately, does it lead to winning? No, it doesn't lead to winning right now. They're not at that point. They can't call themselves a winner because they're not a winner. They are a 2-4 team. It's a losing record. They're under 500. The Colts, how are they going to catch the Colts? Colts look excellent. Colts look like a Super Bowl contender, 6-1. Look what Jonathan Taylor's doing, what Daniel Jones is doing. Look at the coaching of Shane Steichen, the way they're playing on defense collectively. Catching them, that sounds like a pipe dream right now. So where's the hope? I don't know. I'm not here really to sell hope. That's not my job. I don't sell tickets. I would just say that the Texans, it's got to get better. And maybe they need to hit even a lower rock bottom than this point. But right now, it's a time to look in the mirror and do some serious soul searching and have some very hard, honest conversations about what happened here. 27-19 at Lumen Field. It was ugly. So you got the Colts at 6-1, the Jaguars at 4-3. You win the turnover battle at 4-1 ratio, and you don't even score a touchdown until before the 2-minute warning. Turn the ball over in downs 3 times in the second half. You're in a goal-to-go situation, you turn the ball over. This is only the 4th time in franchise history that they lose when they have 4 or more turnovers. shades of Detroit last year, where the offense let down the defense. Remember that one? Where Joe Mixon is hitting the backfield continually? Lots of penalties. I mean, it was rough. And the Seahawks didn't even have Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love in their secondary. Those were very good football players. And they still didn't have, any issue stopping the Texans' offense. So overall, you have the unnecessary roughness penalty on Azeez Al-Shire, sets the stage for the touchdown, and they would have had a stop on third down and held them to a field goal. You get this 1st and goal, 5:47 left in the game. They turn the ball over in downs. I mean, that's it, right there. And they finally score on the Woody Marks touchdown catch from 4 yards out, but then kick it out of bounds. I mean, it's just that's some nasty work right there. So for the Texans, it's got to get better. I don't know where it's going to get better, but definitely there was a regression on offense, and just a 254 yards of total offense, 2 for 15 on third down, 1 for 4 on fourth down. It's just ugly, 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 and it needs to get better. It needs to get better right away. They rushed for a season low 56 yards. They give up the 3 sacks. Stroud was pressured 17 times. Has a season low 59.0 passer rating. That's lowest since last year when they lost to the Green Bay Packers. So, they had some problems stopping Jackson Smith. I get that, but the defense, they have to be better too. And to have this much time to prepare and to lay an egg like this one, that's rough, man. I mean, C.J. Stroud nearly ran himself into that safety. He's got to have more awareness and not play that way. That's not good either. So overall, just a team that did some strange things. A lot of people wondering about the rotation of the guards. Why did they do that again? And just alternate. And, we're kind of thinking that Juice Scruggs was our LG1. Turns out he's not. He didn't do enough. And then, they have Berrios in instead of Noel. I don't know that Berrios, he did have probably some rust, and he catches 1 pass, -1 yards on 3 targets, and he let a punt return go down to the 5-yard line, so he wasn't playing as well as he can, and just overall a tough performance. For quarterback, I mean, CJ could have been picked off more. Still 23 of 49, 229 yards. And I think this was definitely CJ's worst game of the season. And that, there have been some other bad games, but this was really bad. Under pressure, could not handle that pressure. 4 for 14, 55 yards, 1 touchdown interception, facing the pressure. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, they combined for 31 rushing yards on 15 carries. Not a whole lot of room to run through. Offensive line, just constant pressure allowed. I thought that, Dalton Schultz, obviously, he did some things. 98 yards, 9 catches, 10 targets, but there's not a lot there. It wasn't a great night for anyone. Will Anderson Jr., he's a bright spot. At linebacker, too many penalties, not stuffing the run in these short yardage situations, letting Zach Charbonnet look like he's Jerome Bettis or something. Come on. Got to tackle him. Good play by Kalen Bullock for an interception. You saw a forced fumble from Kamari Lassiter. Derek Stingley Jr. an interception. Special teams, that was rough. And then Tommy Townsend and Kyrie Fairbairn made his field goals, but a lot of coaching problems, a lot of issues just overall, and too many penalties, too many problems. And where do they go from here? Well, for now, going to catch this red-eye flight home, the Texans will, on their team charter. And then Tuesday is a game plan day. D'Amico Ryans will talk to the media via Zoom in the afternoon, the 2 o'clock hour. And there'll be more questions, obviously, about what he saw on the tape. And then, I'm sure undoubtedly more questions about the penalties that happened. And then, as far as Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, normal schedule. Saturday, off, except for meetings and all those sort of things they walk through. but closed to media. And then Sunday, they'll play the San Francisco 49ers. So it doesn't get any easier. You got George Kittle. You've got a lot of good football players. Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey. A lot of strong players on defense. And Robert Saleh does a great job of coaching the scheme that the Texans actually use. So he know the Texans very well. And yes, it's going to be a tough game. So we'll see what happens. Guys, we have a lot to dig into. And I've got these videos to post. Look forward to talking to you soon. Please watch, like, and subscribe. Aaron Wilson _NFL. Don't give up on the team. Don't give up on the content just because they're losing. That's what I would ask for you guys. You know, you're fans of the team. Be fans of them through the tough times and the good times. And just like journalists, you know, we cover them. We covered all the David Culley years and Lovie Smith years. And we've had, you know, some fun chronicling the success of the D'Amico Ryans era, which is mostly successful. This year, they're taking a step back. So we'll see where they go from here, starting this week against the Niners. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.